My cousin accused me of getting her pregnant. It was him. He's the one who got me pregnant, my cousin screamed in front of the whole family while my aunt cried and my mother looked at me with disgust. And they all believed her without a single question. My family threw me out. I lost my girlfriend. Even my dog refused to follow me. 12 years later, they had the audacity to knock on my door. But their faces turned red when they saw who opened it. My name is Santiago. I was 18 years old when my life was destroyed in one night. I was the typical model son. Good grades. I was never late, never got into trouble. My plans were simple. Finish high school, get into university with the scholarship I had won, one day marry Andrea, my girlfriend of 2 years. A normal life, a quiet life. I come from a middle-class family. Nothing extraordinary. My father worked in a factory. My mother was a secretary. We lived well. We didn't have a surplus, but we didn't lack anything either. A close-knit family, or so I thought. Then there was her, Isabella, my cousin. She was 16 and was the complete opposite of me. Rebellious, manipulative, a liar. But she was the favorite, the apple of my Aunt Marta's eye. And my Aunt Marta was my mother's older sister, so she had a certain authority in the family. Isabella always got her way. Always. I remember when she was 14 and broke my aunt's new cell phone. She blamed her younger brother. Everyone believed her. The boy was grounded for a month. 2 years later, she herself confessed, laughing, that it had been her. No one said a thing. That's how Isabella was. While I studied late, she would sneak out. While I was careful with every step I took, she had secret boyfriends the family preferred to ignore. And the worst part of it all was the family dynamic. My mother was strict with me, very strict, but my Aunt Marta was the opposite with Isabella. She overprotected her, defended her from everything, always justified her actions. Family gatherings were a showcase of comparisons. Why can't you be like your cousin Santiago, they would say to Isabella. Look how responsible he is. Look what a good student he is. And Isabella would look at me with hatred, with that silent hatred that grows in the dark. I was the one who did everything right, and she was the one who got away with everything. Until the day she used that against me. It was my grandmother's birthday. October. I remember the month because it was hot. The whole family was gathered at my grandparents' house. The garden was full of people, music, food. Laughter. Andrea was with me. We were holding hands. We were talking about university, about our plans. Everything was perfect. Until Isabella arrived. She arrived late, she always arrived late, but this time was different. Her eyes were red and swollen, as if she had been crying for hours. Her mother ran to her. What happened, my love? What did they do to you? And Isabella started to tremble. Sob. Everyone stopped talking. Everyone looked at her, and then she screamed, I'm pregnant. The silence was deathly. My grandmother put her hand to her chest. My aunt hugged her. My mother looked confused. Everyone waited. Everyone wanted to know who. Isabella raised her arm, pointed her finger at me, as if I were a criminal, as if I were a monster. It was him. He's the one who got me pregnant. I don't remember much of the next few seconds, only screams, lots of screams. My aunt crying, my mother looking at me as if she didn't know me. With disgust, with disappointment, with hatred. Andrea let go of my hand. She moved away from me as if I were on fire. No, Santiago, tell me it's not true. I tried to speak, to explain. That's a lie. I would never. We haven't even been alone together. But no one was listening, no one asked questions, no one investigated. They just looked at me, judged me, condemned me. My father grabbed my arm. Hard, too hard. We're leaving. Now. Andrea was crying. She looked at me one last time. I can't be with you. I'm sorry. And she left. Just like that. 2 years together destroyed in 5 minutes. The car ride home was silent. A heavy, deadly silence. My mother was crying in the passenger seat. My father gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. When we got home, my mother exploded. How could you? How could you do that to your cousin? She's a child. A child. And you're a monster. I tried to defend myself again, but it was useless. They had already decided, already judged me, already found me guilty. Pack your things. You're not sleeping here tonight. I packed a suitcase. Clothes, documents, some photos. My whole life fit into one suitcase. When I came downstairs, even my dog looked at me differently. I tried to pet him, but he growled and backed away. Even he was abandoning me. I left that house with a suitcase and a broken heart. I had nowhere to go. Most of my friends had already heard the rumors. Social media had done its job. Santiago the rapist, Santiago the monster, Santiago the pervert. I called my uncle Bruno, my father's younger brother. He was always different from the rest of the family, calmer, more thoughtful. I explained everything through tears. He didn't ask any questions, just said, "Come to my house." Now. That night I slept on my uncle's couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering how my life had been destroyed in one night, how a single lie had ended everything. My family, my girlfriend, my friends, my future, my dignity. They all believed her without a single question, without a single doubt. Condemned without a trial, destroyed without proof. I never imagined that the truth would come to light in the most unexpected way. 12 years later. 12 years. 12 years building what they destroyed in one night. The first few months were the hardest. Living on my Uncle Bruno's couch, looking for work without references, without family support, without the university scholarship I had lost, because my reputation was ruined. Universities checked social media, and my name was tarnished. I worked whatever jobs I could. Waiter, delivery driver, stock clerk. Night shifts so I could study during the day. I enrolled in a public university in another city, far away, where no one knew me, where I could start from scratch. My Uncle Bruno helped me with the first semester. After that, it was all on me. It was hard, very hard. There were nights when I wanted to give up, nights when the weight of the injustice was too much. But I kept going, because giving up meant proving them right, it meant accepting that their lie had beaten me. I studied business administration. I graduated with honors. I got a job at a tech company. I started from the bottom. Assistant, coordinator, supervisor, manager. I kept climbing, learning, growing. At 28, I launched my own consulting firm. By 30, I had offices in 3 cities. Success doesn't erase the pain, but it helps. It helps a lot. I also met Valentina, 5 years after that night. She was a graphic designer, we worked at the same company. It was hard for me to trust again, hard to open up, but she was patient. I told her my story, my whole story, and she believed me. She was the first person in years who simply believed me. We got married 3 years later. It was a small ceremony, just close friends. And my Uncle Bruno. He was the one who gave me away because he was the only one in my family who deserved to be there. I went to therapy for years, to process the trauma of being falsely accused. The abandonment, the betrayal, the rejection. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I learned to live with the scar. I learned that some wounds never fully close. I blocked my entire family on social media. I changed my number. I moved to a neighborhood where they would never find me. Or so I thought. I built a new life, a life where Santiago the monster didn't exist, where there was only Santiago the successful, Santiago the husband, Santiago the survivor. And then, on a quiet Sunday, there was a knock on my door. It was noon. Valentina was making lunch. I was reading in the living room of a spacious apartment in one of the best areas of the city. 12th floor. Panoramic view. The kind of place I dreamed of when I was sleeping on that couch 12 years ago. The doorbell rang insistently, annoyingly. I checked the security camera and froze. My mother, my Aunt Marta, and Isabella. There, at the door of my building, after 12 years. The three of them together, as if nothing had happened, as if they had a right to be there. My heart started to race. Valentina came out of the kitchen. "Who is it?" I showed her the screen. Her eyes widened. "It's them." I nodded. I took a deep breath and went down. When I opened the building door, I saw them clearly. Time had not been kind to them. My mother had more gray hair, more wrinkles. She looked tired, exhausted. My Aunt Marta was thinner, gaunt. And Isabella. Isabella was no longer that rebellious teenager. She was a woman of almost 30, but she looked defeated, sad, finished. The contrast was brutal. They were destroyed by time and consequences. I was successful, well-dressed, living in a luxury building. The irony was almost poetic. I stood at the door, arms crossed, with a cold expression. I said nothing, just looked at them, waiting. My mother spoke first. "Santiago, son, we need to talk to you." Her voice trembled. She was trying to sound motherly, but she just sounded desperate. I didn't respond, just kept looking at her. My Aunt Marta wiped away tears. "Please, it's important. It's about." She didn't finish the sentence. Isabella kept her head down, not meeting my eyes. And then I heard Valentina's voice behind me. "Santiago, is everything okay?" She stood in the doorway, but her presence was enough. My wife, my support, my witness. But before I could answer, another voice interrupted. A male voice, known, familiar. "Honey, who is it?" My heart stopped, because I knew that voice. It was Matteo, my brother-in-law, Valentina's brother, who was living with us temporarily while he looked for an apartment. Matteo appeared behind Valentina, and when he saw the three women at the door, he froze, completely paralyzed. The silence was deafening. Isabella lifted her head. Her eyes met Matteo's, and in that moment, everything clicked, everything made sense. The way she turned pale, the way he swallowed hard, the way my mother and my aunt looked confused between the two of them. Because Matteo wasn't just my brother-in-law. Matteo was the biological father of Isabella's child. He was the secret boyfriend she had at 16, the man who got her pregnant and then disappeared. And now he was here, in my house, my brother-in-law, part of my new family. My mother's and my aunt's faces turned red with shame, with shock, with guilt, because the evidence was right in front of them. Undeniable, impossible to ignore. Isabella started to tremble. Matteo took a step back. Valentina looked at me, confused, and I just smiled. A cold, bitter smile, because I had waited for this moment for years. I discovered the truth 5 years ago. Shortly after meeting Valentina, a distant cousin who always knew the truth finally spoke up. He told me everything. How Isabella was secretly dating Matteo, how she got pregnant, how Matteo ran away when he found out, how Isabella panicked and blamed me, the perfect cousin, the model son, because she knew no one would question her. When I met Matteo, 2 years later, and realized he was Valentina's brother, I investigated. I saw photos of Isabella's son on social media. The resemblance was undeniable. The same eyes. The same nose, the same smile. The boy was the spitting image of Matteo. I confronted Matteo in private. He confessed everything, through tears, through apologies. He begged me not to say anything, that he had already ruined enough lives. Valentina didn't know anything, and I decided to keep it to myself because my revenge wasn't to ruin my wife's life. My revenge was to live well, to be successful, to show that their lie hadn't destroyed me. But now they were here, at my door, and the universe had decided it was time for the truth to explode. I think you have a lot to explain, I said finally. My voice was calm, controlled, but everyone could feel the edge in every word. My mother tried to speak. Santiago, we didn't know. 12 years, I interrupted her. 12 years without a single call, without a single apology, without a single question. And now you come because you need something from me, right? The silence confirmed it all. Isabella finally spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper. My son. My son is sick. We need help. There it was. The real reason, the true motive for their visit. It wasn't to ask for forgiveness, it wasn't to clear my name, it was because they needed money, because I was successful and they were desperate. The irony was delicious and painful and just. Come in, I said finally. I think we all need to have a very long conversation. I had them come into the living room. No one sat down. The atmosphere was so tense you could cut it with a knife. Valentina stayed by my side, confused but loyal. Matteo was pale, pressed against the wall as if he wanted to disappear. My mother looked at the apartment, the furniture, the art on the walls, the view. Everything screamed success, everything screamed that I had managed to move on without them. Despite them. Explain, I said. My voice was cold, distant, as if I were talking to strangers, because after 12 years, that's what they were. Isabella took a deep breath. Her voice trembled. My son has leukemia. He needs a treatment that the insurance doesn't fully cover. It's very expensive. We don't have the money. No one in the family does. How old is your son? I asked, though I already knew the answer. 11, almost 12. And who is the father? Silence. A heavy, accusing silence. My Aunt Marta tried to intervene. Santiago, that doesn't matter now. What's important is the boy. He's sick, he needs help. Of course it matters, I replied. It matters because that child is the reason you all destroyed my life. It matters because for 12 years, everyone believed I was a monster. It matters because never, not once, did you ask yourselves if Isabella was telling the truth. My mother took a step forward. Santiago, we were a family. We had to protect Isabella. She was a minor, she was scared. And I was a minor too. I exploded. I was 18 years old. I had plans, I had a life, and you destroyed it without proof, without questions, without a doubt. You threw me out of my own house. I lost my scholarship, I lost my girlfriend, I lost my dignity. And you never, ever came looking for me. Tears began to roll down my mother's cheeks. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. If we had known. But you did know, I interrupted. Or at least you could have investigated, you could have asked, you could have doubted. But you didn't, because it was easier to believe her, because I was the perfect son and she was the rebel. And when the rebel points at the perfect one, everyone assumes the perfect one has fallen. I looked directly at Isabella. Tell your mother who your son's father is. Isabella started to cry. Santiago, please. Matteo, Valentina murmured. Is it true? Matteo nodded. Ashamed, destroyed. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I was a coward. I was scared. And I ruined Santiago's life because of my cowardice. My Aunt Marta sank onto the couch. It can't be. All this time, I repeated, living with the lie, destroying my name. And now you come to ask me for help, as if nothing happened, as if 12 years meant nothing. The boy is innocent, my mother said. Please, Santiago, you can hate us. But the boy is not to blame. She was right. The child was innocent, an 11-year-old boy facing a terrible disease. A child who didn't ask to be born from a lie. A child who didn't know his existence had destroyed an innocent man. I will help you, I said finally. They all raised their heads, hopeful. But with conditions. Whatever they are, Isabella said desperately. First condition, you are going to confess publicly on the same social media platforms where I was defamed. Isabella is going to record a video explaining the whole truth, naming the real father, apologizing publicly, clearing my name. Isabella turned pale. Santiago, that would be humiliating. Just as it was for me. I replied. To spend 12 years being pointed at, being judged, being rejected. So yes, you are going to confess, or there is no help. Second condition, the money will go directly to the hospital. I will not give you a single cent in cash. I will pay for the treatments. I will speak with the doctors. I will make sure the child receives the best possible care, but you will not see or touch that money. My Aunt Marta wanted to protest. Santiago, that's non-negotiable, I cut her off. Those are my conditions. You have 48 hours to decide. If you accept, Isabella publishes the confession, and I pay for the treatment. If you don't accept, you can leave now and never come back. You can't use my sick son to get revenge, Isabella shouted. I'm not using anyone, I responded calmly. I'm offering help. Under my terms. The boy is going to receive the treatment either way, but you have to face the consequences of your actions. You have to clear my name, you have to give me back what you stole from me, my dignity. My mother came closer, took my hands. I didn't raise you to be cruel. I pulled my hands away. You didn't raise me to be a liar or a coward either, but here we are. 48 hours. Decide. I walked them to the door. They left in silence, defeated, ashamed. Mateo stayed. Valentina looked at him with a mix of disappointment and shock. I left them alone. They needed to talk, to process, to understand. I had already said everything I had to say. 48 hours later, my phone vibrated. It was a message from my mother with a link, a video on Facebook. I opened it. Isabella was sitting in front of the camera, eyes red, no makeup, vulnerable. My name is Isabella, she began, and I have a confession to make. 12 years ago, I accused my cousin Santiago of getting me pregnant. I lied. He never touched me. He was never close to me in that way. I was pregnant, but it was by my boyfriend at the time, Mateo. I was scared. My family was strict, and in a moment of panic and cowardice, I blamed Santiago. An innocent man, a man who never did me any harm. I ruined his life, I pushed him away from his family, I destroyed his reputation. And for 12 years, I lived with that lie. Santiago, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. There are no words that can repair the damage I did to you, but I hope this confession at least clears your name, that people know the truth, that they know you are innocent. You always were. The video ended. The comments were already starting to pour in. Hundreds, thousands. Some supporting me, others criticizing her, others wondering how someone could be so cruel. I kept my word. I called the hospital, spoke with the doctors, paid for the first cycle of treatment. I opened a special account for the child's future medical expenses. Only for medical expenses, nothing more. Valentina and Mateo had a long, difficult conversation. She was furious, disappointed, but in the end, she decided to forgive him because he was her brother and because he was finally facing his mistakes, taking responsibility as a father. The messages started to arrive. High school classmates apologizing, friends who had turned their backs on me trying to reconnect. Even Andrea, my ex-girlfriend, wrote me a long message apologizing, explaining, asking for a chance to talk. I didn't reply, because I didn't need her apology, I didn't need her explanation. I was no longer that 18-year-old Santiago seeking approval. I was a new man, with a new life, with a wife who loved me, with a success I had built on my own. My mother tried to call several times, I blocked her. My Aunt Marta sent messages, I ignored them. Isabella posted a second, more personal, deeper apology. I read it and forgot about it. 3 months later, the boy was responding well to the treatment. The doctors were optimistic. I gave Mateo access to the medical updates because he was his son, and because the boy deserved to have his father present. Even if it was late. One night, Valentina asked me if I felt avenged, satisfied, if I had closure. I thought about it. I really thought about it. It's not revenge, I told her finally. It's justice. There's a difference. Revenge would have been to destroy them, to deny them help, to let them suffer. But justice. Justice is giving them what they deserve. Consequences, accountability. And at the same time, helping the innocent. The child didn't ask to be born from a lie. He doesn't deserve to suffer for his mother's mistakes. I feel at peace, I added. Finally at peace. Because I didn't need their forgiveness, I didn't need their repentance. I just needed the truth to come out, for my name to be cleared, for people to know I was always innocent. And now they knew. 12 years. 12 years living under a shadow that has finally lifted. Not because they decided to do it, but because I forced them, because I demanded justice, because I didn't accept less than what I deserved. Sometimes the best revenge isn't to destroy the one who hurt you, it's to live so well that when they finally look for you, they realize everything they lost, everything they could have had, everything they let go. And when I saw their faces that Sunday, when they saw my apartment, my wife, my success, my life, I knew they understood. That they regretted it. That they realized. And that was enough. If you've made it this far, let me know your opinion in the comments. Do you think I was too harsh? Did I do the right thing? What would you have done in my place? I'd love to read your thoughts. And if this story moved something inside you, don't forget to give it a like. It helps more people get to know these stories of justice and overcoming adversity. And if you want to hear more stories like this, real stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary situations, subscribe to Echoes to Historia. Here we share experiences that make you reflect, that make you indignant, that inspire you. Stories of people who chose not to give up, who chose to fight for their truth. See you in the next story.